Welcome to Le Mans. I have never been into the center of town here before. It's a very, very ancient French town. The Romans were here, and I know that there are a lot of historic things to discover, but we've got about 2 hours before we meet Sarah and George from Chateau Diaries this evening for dinner. But before then, let's go and explore a historic French city. There you can see the cathedral, which is one of the largest in France. I'm super excited, Philip. The historic centre is called the Cité Plantagenet. It's the medieval quarter, and I just want to stroll through cobbled streets. Do you think there'll be nice little boutiques?
I hope so.
I'm in the mood for little boutiques. Look at the fountain and the little entrance up to the cathedral and the old town. I think most people just know Le Mans from the race, and I've never been to the race, but Michael Potts comes here regularly to take photos. He is a complete fanatic about it. I'm a little bit more excited in the old part of town. Behind me is the Fountain of the Jet of Water, a very original name for a fountain. But it's very well known in Le Mans, and it's very important to the city because it's considered the entrance to the historic Plantagenet neighborhood. It was built in 1854, but only was revealed in this glorious state in 2019 after years and years of renovations and over 600,000 euros of public money. The color had been changed over the century since it was built, and now it's been repainted in its original sage green color. I find it absolutely beautiful. And now it has many, many jets, far more than presumably its original one if it was just called the Fountain of the Jet of Water. And it's beautiful. And look, it has a huge double staircase. That's one more staircase than we have to the terrace at Lalande. This is better, isn't it? Much better. Let's go up and into the historic city. Actually, chiseled into the wall here is what I find quite an ironic sign. It says Défense d'afficher, which means you're not allowed to put posters up here. But they felt that that was worth chiseling in huge letters as the entrance into the city. Not sure that's the welcome sign I'd have gone with. Well, Philip, I'm not going to do this on my own. Come and join me.
So when I was just walking up the side, I saw that on the fountain it said it was cast. It said Emperor Napoleon III.
That's your favourite furniture?
So it's one of my favourites. And George and Sarah are taking us to this huge antiques fair for the second time. This time in Le Mans, that's why we're here. And I hope that I can afford some of that, if they have any.
The last one was amazing because it's where I found the bed crown for my bedroom at Lalande with the antique toile de jouy. So I'm just wondering, will we find anything that good tomorrow?
I mean, I can't wait. Let's keep a lookout. Oh, by the way, talking about keeping a lookout, did you see the lanterns? They're all painted. And I think that's like all fancy creatures. That's like a flamingo swan.
I wonder if it's maybe a phoenix. Why would there be a flamingo in Le Mans?
Oh, you know, down there was like a hybrid of a fish and a rabbit.
Well, I wonder if they're heraldic ones.
It could be.
Well spotted. They must look so pretty at night when they're lit up.
Yes.
Oh, it's magnificent. This whole square could not be a more perfect introduction to the old part of the city. It's picture perfect. It's like something from a Disney movie. The little towers, the old buildings, where you can see that they've been here for hundreds of years because the window shapes have changed over the centuries. And doors like this. Doesn't this make you want to just sneak in there and see what lies behind a secret garden, maybe? Sadly, it's locked. Should we pop into the cathedral now? And we're right next to it. Yeah, I can't walk past a cathedral without visiting it, so let's pop in before doing anything else. First impression on stepping into the cathedral is that whilst it is stunningly beautiful, it doesn't seem like the biggest cathedral, does it? I mean, it's incredible, but I've seen larger. That's because we've come in a side door, and this is just the cross section. The actual cathedral is viewed that way, so you can imagine the size. It is incredible. Going that way, there is the ancient Romanesque cathedral that was built in the early 1100s, and the other way is the Gothic wing. It was added in the early 1200s. It has 13 radiating chapels, and you can see the Gothic arches as opposed to the rounded Roman arches the other way. But before we go there, we are standing just below the organ, built in the early 1500s and topped by the 6 virtues. It may seem as though we're just looking at a Romanesque cathedral in the heart of France, but in fact, you're looking at a building that changed the destiny of England and France for centuries, because it was here in 1128 that Matilda, the granddaughter of William the Conqueror and heiress to England, married Geoffrey Plantagenet. Their son, Henry II of England, was baptized here. His claim to the throne of England and to France led to centuries of squabbling between the two countries and the 100 Years' War. It all started with a wedding and a baptism here.
I've just spotted that you can see that it used to be painted.
Well, so you think that when they got married it didn't look exactly like this?
No.
Oh my goodness, you're right. Look, fragments of paint.
And with all the other columns as well, if you look to the right,
It must have been spectacular.
it's like red in the creases of the leaves.
Yes, there is. You've got such an eye for detail, it's crazy. But Philip, look, there's also paint here. Do you see? The whole thing must have been painted. And above it, you can see the stained glass window dedicated to the life of St. Julian, because this is the Cathedral of St. Julian. Each separate picture of the stained glass window would tell a different story of his life. But it's not the most exciting stained glass window here. There is something much more important, and it's this much smaller window behind me, because this is the oldest stained glass window still standing in a cathedral in the whole of Europe, and it dates from the late 11th century, so it is well over 1,000 years old. It's telling the story of the Ascension, and you can see the Virgin about to go up to heaven, just in the middle at the top. Let's go and visit the Gothic side of the cathedral now, which was consecrated in 1254. Okay, Philip, on the way, I want to show you something pretty awesome. Looking back towards the window that we saw as soon as we walked in, the Great Rose Window was added during the 100 Years' War that was created, somewhat ironically, from the marriage of Matilda to Geoffrey Plantagenet in this very cathedral. But underneath it, there's a gallery with sculpted fleur-de-lis, which is of course the royal emblem of France. And that is a sign that this was a gift from the King Charles VII. But what's very interesting is why he gifted it. He wanted to thank Saint Julien for saving him from his madness in 1392. August, to be precise.
What happened in August of 1392?
It's a pretty mad month.
Do you remember?
Well, oh, right, that's get out, Philip, out. I don't want to look at this cathedral with you anymore. Let's carry on to the new edition from the 1200s. But the thing I really want to show you is the ceiling of the Virgin's Chapel. Because whilst all of the cathedral was painted in medieval times, it was stripped in the 19th century. And the ceiling we're about to see has been restored. It was made by a master painter in the 1300s. And it is a masterpiece. It has been very recently restored, and we can now see the 47 musician angels in all their glory. Isn't it breathtaking? This mural was painted at about the same time as the murals in the Palace of the Popes in Avignon that I went to with my mother. If you saw that one, you'll have seen some extraordinary painted rooms, which I absolutely love, and this is contemporary to that paintwork. The angels are using 24 different instruments, including one that is very mysterious and unrecognizable today. Because of that, this cathedral has become a reference point for specialists in medieval musical instruments. People come here to see exactly what they're holding. I found the strange musical instrument that no one knows of nowadays, the échiquier. Looks like a chessboard. It's up here. Look, just there. What is that? Extraordinary. Jeu d'échecs is the French word for a game of chess, hence the name échiquier.
So you said that's related to checkers?
Yeah, it could well be. It must get its name from the same place, even though it's a different game in England. And even down here at the lower level, you can see paintwork that's been hidden and now just starting to be revealed. Imagine it when it was all painted.
And you can kind of see faces and I think stars, and it's just such a shame.
This ceiling is considered one of the great masterpieces of Gothic art in Europe.
So this is Gothic?
Yes.
The Chapel Lalande is Neo-Gothic?
Yes.
You can really see the resemblance to the Neo-Gothic Chapel Lalande.
Yes, all the
painted
paintwork.
beams.
Yes.
Exactly. And I think the Neo-Gothic tiles?
You're right. So in the Neo-Gothic period, they obviously added these tiles, which are, I mean, unbelievably similar to the ones in the Chapel Lalande.
They merge perfectly.
Almost the same. Philip, have you noticed the time?
No?
Okay, we are meeting Sarah and George, and we have not seen the town yet. We've just spent absolutely ages, honestly, wandering around this cathedral because it is so beautiful. This is just one of the 13 chapels that goes off the Gothic edition. And here's a little B-roll of all of the others that will give you some idea of the time that we have just had in this place. This way instead of the way we came in, because there's two entrances here. This one is the royal entrance. Wait, I thought we were coming out the royal porch. This is not the royal porch. This is the medieval facade, and it's actually really rare to see a cathedral in France that still has its original medieval Romanesque facade, because they were usually jazzed up in later centuries, but this one hasn't been, so it's rather special for that. Nevertheless, we are going to go and see a slightly jazzed up version around the other side, which is the royal porch, which could have been where Matilda and Geoffrey Plantagenet walked in for their wedding, and it's got some quite interesting carving. Okay, this is it. This is the royal porch. This feels right. What's interesting about this one is that the carvings represent the 3 stages of humanity. Now, you may not have known, Philip, that there were 3 stages of humanity, but there are. Stage number 1, ooh, that's the half past. Oh my goodness, we've got to get moving. Stage number 1 is represented by figures from the Old Testament, and they represent life on earth before the coming of Christ. Stage number 2 of humanity is represented by the figures carved on the columns on either side of the door. They're carved in bas relief, which was very innovative for the time. It is St. Paul and St. Peter, and you can see St. Paul is just pointing into the church, because they represent the stage of humanity that is after the coming of Christ. I think someone's playing the organ inside. That's amazing. So they're pointing us into the church, because this is the life of humanity once Christ has come to earth. But stage 3 of humanity is the stage after the apocalypse, and that's represented above the door. You can see Christ surrounded by the 4 apostles in their symbolic form. There's an ox, an eagle, a winged lion, and an angel with a book. I want to show you something just round the corner, Philip. Oh my goodness, look at the beauty of this place. It's just crazy. So a cathedral dating from the 1100s may seem very old, but right next to it, leaning against it, is something that reminds us that people have been worshipping for several more thousand years than that, because this is a dolmen. It's from the Neolithic period. Now I'm truly touching history. Everything around this is just new build. Isn't that crazy? It's just crazy. I've never seen a cathedral with a dolmen nestling against it before. I quite like the look of this little shop, Philip. I don't know about you, but...
Have a little bit.
Dépourvante salon de thé, that sounds like quite a good combo. Is that a guinea fowl? I think that's a baby guinea fowl. Guinea fowl and a goose. I like those.
We need those in the lab.
Isn't this a gorgeous place? Whoa, a second-hand clothes store.
I love it.
My heaven. I can see mummy in this.
It reminds me a little bit of the original fabric of your bedroom.
It does a little, but it's quite big.
With a belt?
Yeah, Yeah, maybe. Should I get that for Mummy? I think she'd be really pretty in this. Okay, I'm considering this for Mummy. Let's carry on looking. That's a type of African batik. I like that a lot.
I think it would look nice on you.
You think so?
Yeah.
It's a bit smaller than me.
Are you sure?
Yeah, this is a 36, I'm a 38, but I could try. You never know. I mean, it's
like a
elasticated.
skirt,
Philip, why are you pulling something out of the small women section?
Well, it's not that small.
It doesn't look that small.
And it doesn't look, I mean, the buttons.
Oh my goodness, are you
It's
genuinely
women's.
thinking of getting a women's jumpsuit for yourself?
Well, you know, I've actually been looking for men's jumpsuits for a while, but they just didn't sell them
I'd do
that
it.
much.
Try it on. I really want to see you try that
It's
on.
huge, look. It must be some tall
Oh my
woman.
goodness, that is some woman. Wow. Yeah, try it.
Okay.
I just spotted this one, which is similar to the one I put aside for Mummy as a possibility.
What I'm holding.
So, yeah, look, Mummy and I would be
Something like
matching. They're both second-hand H&M. I'll try this one on. Yeah. It's annoying. I can't even get the straps on. It's just way too tight here. It's a pity because I really like it. It's pretty.
It's very pretty.
Yeah, no, I mean, I can't. I can barely breathe.
Oh. Could we let it out, do you think?
I don't think there's enough fabric to let it out. I'll have a look when I'm taking it off.
Okay.
I love the fabric.
It's really nice. Looks great on you.
Thanks. Okay, after being unable to breathe in the last one, this is lovely. What do you think?
Beautiful.
I really like it.
Looks great on you.
Yeah. It's not expensive, it's really light and breezy for summer. I'm going to get this one and I'm going to get the sort of semi-matching one for Mummy.
It's really pretty.
We'll be like twins. But now it is time for you to try the jumpsuit.
Oh, okay.
This is the moment I've been waiting for. It's so 1970s.
So, I've tried rolling it up, but actually, it fits
It's
perfectly.
the waistband I don't like.
Me neither.
Everything else is nice except for the waist. You might have to just take it in.
Could do.
Yeah, it looks nice like that.
Yeah, so bit of fabric there.
That's a nice little spot of shopping. Mummy and I are going to be matching in our outfits. In fact, you're in blue too. The three of us will be matching. I don't know about you, Philip, but every single time I see a house for sale in a place like this, I just imagine this whole other life.
I did the same
So,
thing.
yeah, I mean, look at that. Look at that
What
house.
kind of job would I have?
Yes, what life would I have living in this beautiful place? It even has a garage in the middle of town. And look at the view that it's got of the cathedral.
This is so pretty.
It's ridiculously idyllic. How have I never been to Le Mans before?
I love ivy on buildings.
Me too. Look at all the half-timbered houses. It's strange to think that this is what London would have looked like before the Great Fire, which just wiped out all of the wooden houses in 1666. It's so precious to find places like this that are still standing, that haven't been destroyed. Philip, have I ever mentioned that I really love living in France?
No, I don't think you have.
Don't know if I've ever said it.
No, at least not today.
Look at the pillar. This house, the House of the Red Pillar, was built in the 15th and 16th centuries, and it's absolutely typical of the half-timbered buildings of the late medieval period, early Renaissance. And we're going to see a lot more buildings like this on this walk. Oh dear, the pillar's nowhere near as cheerful as we first suspected. Because we
it's
have a
called-
crucifixion here and a skull here.
Is it called the red pillar because of blood?
Oh dear.
What's on that side?
Something more cheerful. Looks like golf clubs. Yeah, it's ready for a round of golf. I think the moral of this pillar is death awaits, so play golf whilst you still can. Yeah, that's my theory and I'm sticking with it. Shall we just grab a quick drink here? There's been a complete crisis. We've just sat down to get a nice cold drink and I realised that the fluffy has fallen off my microphone, which was on my belt, and without the fluffy we can't record because the wind noise is too bad. And Philip has just run all the way back to the main square that we entered in to see if he can see the tiny little fluffy bit that goes on this anywhere. It is futile. I've checked the bags here, everything. I think I've lost it. I'll have to do a lot of indoor filming if he doesn't find it from now on. I don't believe it. No, seriously. How? Where was it?
On the car park in front of the not royal gate.
Of the cathedral?
Doors, yes. My grandfather always used to pray to St. Anthony. He was the patron saint of the lost objects. So I was like, okay, you've done great things for my grandfather. So it's time to step up for me. Help me find the fluffy.
The fluffy, St. Anthony, the fluffy. You found the fluffy.
I did.
I'm amazed.
Thanks, dude.
The absolute and unadulterated treachery. Treachery of Le Mans
What are you talking
2021. It's
about?
going to go down in history more even than the house with the red pillar.
I got an ice cream. You don't like ice cream. I keep asking you if you want an
Well,
ice cream.
actually, I would have liked an ice cream.
Oh, serious?
Yes.
I'll go back and get you one. Which one would you like?
What have they got?
Maybe you should have a look.
Yeah, I'll go and have
yourself.
a look. I decided to cure our squabble by getting a peace pot. Peace is restored to the Tour of Le Mans.
Cheers.
To peace. Cheers. Okay, let's carry on. I love the names in this town. That was the red pillar house and this is the green pillar house. This pillar is indeed green, but there's less of a moral to be found in its carving. I feel this was a more austere family. No nonsense. In this gallery there's a reminder that of course we're in the home of the 24 hours of Le Mans. Oh, they're having a lot of fun in that car.
A little bit frisky.
Now, I suspect that if that house had had a pillar, it would have been called the House of the Blue Pillar.
Whatever would give you that idea.
Have you seen the little statues in the niches?
Yes.
Philip, it's an antique shop and it's closed. But it's okay. We're going to the trade fair tomorrow. It's okay. I love this house. Look at Adam and Eve. It's known as the House of Adam and Eve, following the same naming conventions that we're starting to really understand here in Le Mans. But the extraordinary thing about this house is that it was built in the 1500s by the astrologer and doctor to the Queen of Navarre. And later on, it was lived in by one of the members of the medical staff of Louis XIII and Louis XIV.
Wow.
So this would have been the place to come for some pretty high quality healing.
Nice bloodletting.
Yeah, but top quality bloodletting.
Yeah.
Only the finest bloodletting. So this is my favourite so far. I love this carving.
What are you laughing at?
Because we were just saying how everything's named very literally. And this is the restaurant of the 7 dishes. I'll be very disappointed if there's more than 7 dishes here. The 7 plats gourmands. Oh, it actually looks really good. I fancy beef. Okay, they have beef tonight. Beef it is.
All right.
I love hollyhocks. Look at that, look how tall it is. It's very cottage garden, but in the middle of town it makes it feel so green somehow to have a plant like this growing against a building. And look at those flowers up there.
I love the ivy.
I have no idea what flowers they are.
They will be.
Look what we found. We found the old Roman walls because this was entirely circled with walls from the 3rd century AD. And in fact, building the walls meant that they had to destroy a much earlier Roman structure, which was the bathhouse, which has recently been found and explored. But these massive walls all around the city, you can see a bit the edge of them there as well. They didn't stop King Clovis from taking the city in 510. King Clovis unified France by conquering lots of other Franco-Roman chieftains and calling himself the King of France, Clovis I. Little known fact, my mother's first cat was called Clovis. She always gave her cats very grand names. The cat that we had when I was growing up was called Othello. He's the last cat that we had because I was allergic to cats. But he lived out a very long and happy life with us. It might not look like much from this side, this wall, but it goes all the way down and the river's quite a lot lower than us. So you can imagine a pretty impressive wall in its day. I think we need to go back up now, back towards the cathedral, because there's a square here, which is where we're going to be meeting George and Sarah. Look at that building. Just crossing the road.
Yeah. Look, there's a teddy bear there to greet us.
Oh, so cute. Hang on. This doesn't go to another building.
Yeah, right.
I think it was originally. Look, the wall is there. But the other house has disappeared. Just leaving the poor teddy completely stranded. I'm not sure that teddy can get down.
Poor teddy.
There isn't even a house on the other side anymore. Look, it's just a garden. It's just a suspended room with a completely stranded teddy.
A suspended shed.
You should shimmy up there, get that teddy out. No?
Nah.
No, where's your heroic streak now?
Do you want to show me how it's done?
Yeah, after dinner.
Okay.
We'll get the teddy after dinner. You know, that ice cream in no way spoilt my appetite.
I'm so hungry.
I'm really peckish.
Thirsty. Look at this.
It's like a coffin-shaped window.
That's very grim of you.
So I find it a bit creepy.
Diamond-shaped window, but
Went with coffin.
looks like there is no building behind this facade.
Yes, up there, look.
Yeah.
Just a window, but what a shame. Imagine what a darling house that would make. Plus it's next door to my favourite house in Le Mans, Adam and Eve house.
We're back here.
Back here. Oh, is it back near the restaurant of the 7 dishes? I think that means we're quite near to the main square. So let's find the square.
Okay, in a bit. But first, I saw another pillar.
What colour was it?
Grey. Well, beige. But it's got like a devil. And then there's a lobster.
Fat cherubim with wings.
Oh, and that's a devil, I think.
I don't think so. He's looking very cheerful.
Okay, so you've got the devil there, you've got the angel there, and a lobster.
Of course you do. This is where you bought lobsters from a very cheerful, angelic person who's nothing like a devil who won't rip you off.
Probably.
Best lobster in town.
Yes. And another lobster.
Was it a warring faction lobster house?
Was this the Red Lobster, a restaurant chain?
Yeah, famous
Yes.
16th century restaurant chain,
Yes.
because this dates from...
1581.
Yes.
He's about right.
Why the lobsters? Well, we're nowhere near the sea, so it cannot be lobsters to eat. In those days, they wouldn't have had refrigerated transport. It must have been crayfish.
Oh, could have been.
Yes, there's a lot of crayfish locally. This is where we're meeting in about 10 minutes, so we need to rush back to the van.
Freshen up, drop the stuff off.
That's the restaurant we're meeting at, La Baraque à Bœuf.
Oh.
This is a lovely spot. We've got 10 minutes, so we're going to rush back to the van, drop everything off, and you want your waistcoat. Jazz up for tonight. Where's the van again?
The van's back there,
I
behind the...
never know. If I wasn't with
cinema.
Philip, I'd be wandering around, lost in various cities of France continually. I can't wait to see George and Sarah. We're going that way.
Yes. We've only seen about, I don't know what, 10%?
Tiny fraction.
Yes.
But I loved it.
Amazing.
Carafe crisis. Can you show us the size of the carafe of wine?
Need a straw.
Merci bien.
It's like a little milk jug.
Nearly big enough.
Having said that, wow, the food looks incredible. So I have it with sauce poivre and you have façon rossini.
Yum.
We're having dinner with George and Sarah in historic Le Mans. It's wonderful.
Tomorrow's going to be so exciting.
I can't wait. I really can't wait. You have to give us all the insider tips.
We will.
I better turn the camera off for that.
We'll help you.
Whoa, Grand Marnier souffle.
Yeah.
Oh, and you have?
I have pan perdu, which is brioche with caramel beurre salé and vanilla ice cream. And George has added a little bit of cream from his.
You're having the same as me, George?
Added measures.
I've had half one already.
Oh, Philip, you look so good.
Lemon sorbet with vodka.
So you've basically just gone for vodka with a bit of sorbet and for
Good
dessert.
for you.
That's what I thought.
Excellent.
Join us in next Sunday's video to find out what glorious treasures we found at the huge antiques fair.
By Jove, we're done.
By Jove, I think we've done it. A huge thank you to all of our patrons at Lalande who are making this vlog possible, especially our Dauphin and Dauphine of Lalande, Yedland, Ether, Alice, Alan, Dan Bander, Wailing Banshee, Brian Bernard, Brandon and John Michael, Cecilia Begum, Denise Behrens, Danelle Benakovich, Jill Bidwell, Candice Blackburn, Candice Ned Borkowski, Clara Butcher, Paolina Calabro, Chloe Chalikani, Lindsay C. Chelton, Stephen Sarah Cole, Linda Sue Concepcion, Erin Conklin, Zoe Dork, Sylvia Dem, Jim Demersman and Richard Patternord, Sakura Dennis, Zane Dixon, Jackie Ellison, Nicholas W. Fairfax, Tracy Ferrari, Caroline First, Kevin Fossum, Abigail Grant, Fifi Greenberg, Crystal Hardy, Brenda Harris, Delane Holbrook, Kim Hasselhoff, David and Tong Henderson, Jacqueline Holmes and Ken Bates, Priscilla Hubler, Sandra Hawley, Melissa Jansen, Brian Kelsey and Phil Byrne, Jimmy Kemp, Nadia Kennedy, Lisa LaForge, Dave and Summer Lalande, Morgan Lawley, Angel Leonard, Victoria Lepine, Janet Huff Lombard, Marina, Frank Martin, Meredith, Robert Miller, Joanne Morton, Karen Nicholson, Kathy Norrie, JC Award, Maureen Palmer, Wendy Piatek, Frank Poposky and James Snow, Tamara Price, Amin Rahman, Tonya Renee, RJB, Bettina Rojek, Hanny Ross, Mary Ryan, Elizabeth Scanlon, Sven Schreiber, Lisa Schultz, Jennifer Shank, Banks, Rebecca Shorrock, Carl and Laurie Siebert, Teresa Sloan, Patty Suhu, Susan Stevens, Monty Stapora, Sabrina Surratt, Anne the Leaf House, Sarah Thornton, Colleen Troyer, Renee Valelli, Victoria, Jessica Walker, Randy Walton, Laura Watkins, Lucas Wallen, James Whalen, Cheryl Whitaker, Linda Veast, Christine Wilson, Winnie de la Cockapoo, Greg Wood, David Young, and Ludovico Ordinazzo. And thank you to all of you.